Alrighty, so Unit 3, this is one of my favorite topics here. We're going to talk about rates and unit ratios, or ratios rather than unit rates. I call this entire unit, I like to call it fun with fractions, but my favorite part of it is the rates and ratios stuff, specifically conversions, because you can kind of make it fun by dragging it way out, or you can make it super short. Depends on your, what you want to do with it. So a ratio is a comparison of two numbers using a division, in other words, a fraction. Technically, a ratio has no units, also known as a fraction, must be simplified. So, and again, lots of forms, right? But generally speaking, what we'll look at is like this. We'll have, say, 6, sevenths. That's a fraction, right? Or, again, we obviously could make them, improper is okay, if it makes sense. So 10 thirds. So those are, just a ratio is just a fraction. Now, a rate is when we give the ratio meaning. We give it measurements, like miles per hour, which is technically a unit rate. So the ratio of two measurements having different units of measure. So must have units. So this is that labeling thing, right? So if I said 4 gallons in 3 seconds, right? That is technically a rate. So maybe that's how much milk you can drink. I don't know. Whatever. But again, a rate must have units. Now, a unit rate is when the denominator is 1. You've divided it out. A rate with a denominator of 1 still must have units. So if I said 12 miles in 2 minutes, that's not a unit rate. But if I reduce that fraction, again, divide it out so I have a denominator of 1, that would be 6 miles per 1 hour, or 6 miles per hour. This is the unit rate. Okay, so the whole point of this is conversions. We're going to change a rate from one type of unit to another. I'm going to start with an example here. We're going to say 720 meters in a day. I don't know, maybe that's how far you walk or something, I don't know. But let's say we want to convert that into how many meters per minute that actually is. So meters per minute. Remember, generally when I see an M by itself, that means meters. Now here's the thing. Meters is going to stay meters, so I'm not going to change that in this case. It's going to stay meters. What I do need to change is days into minutes. Now this is where cross multiplication comes in really handy. So I can cross cancel. Remember with fractions you can cross cancel. So I'm going to change days into hours. Then I'm going to change hours into minutes. And this is what we call unit analysis. So I'm going to double check here. I'm going to see if days actually change into minutes. Days cross cancels, hours cross cancels, I'm left with minutes. And what I wanted was meters over minutes, and that's what I've got at the end. So now I fill in the numbers. So again, I always do that first. It's called unit analysis. I always do that first, then fill in the numbers. Otherwise you can get them upside down, and sometimes I do. So we're going to say that 1 day is 24 hours. 1 hour is 60 minutes. Now these are fractions, so I can just multiply straight across. Straight across. So on the top I've got 720 times 1 times 1, which is 720. On the bottom I've got 1 times 24 times 60, which is 1,440. There we go. Now I'm not done because I do want to express this in unit rates when I'm done. That means I take the top and divide it by the bottom, just like any old fraction, and that gives me 0.5 meters per minute. So in other words, 720 meters per day is really half a meter per minute if you kept it at a constant rate. Okay, so that's your example for conversions. We'll do lots of these, don't worry. Okay, so conversion factor. It's the fraction we use to convert a rate rather. The value of the fraction is 1. Now, there are 2 pages that you're going to want to look at in your book. 288 and I think the other one, hang on a sec. Yeah, the other one's 699. these two pages are going to become your best friends. Now, I have these pages linked in Schoology, so if you just went straight to them, or I have them in pretty much, I think I'm going to have them in every class kick for you. And I'm going to show you them after this one. But let's say how many inches in a centimeter. So 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. Technically, this fraction means 1. Because if I were to convert inches in centimeters at 2.54 over 2.54, that'd really be 1. So this is called conversion factors. A whole bunch of them. We have like 2.20 pounds per 1 kilogram. These are all conversion factors. So here's the one on page 288. Again, I want to write that down in your vocab notes because it's going to become one of your best friends. Here's the one on 699. Again, write that down. It's going to become one of your best friends. You're going to want to use that a lot. So there you go. And there's also conversion factors on your NISA sheets. You can use it any time. There's conversion. Or you can Google conversion factors. Just don't use it to cheat on your homework.